Hey, what's going on, Guardians? TBL here, and today, let's talk about the Gunsmith. That's right, we're going to have a little bit of a chat about old Banshee 44, his place in Destiny, and how I feel about it and how I feel it could and should improve as the game moves forward, and certainly on into the sequel whenever that's going to be coming out, Destiny 2, whether it's this year, next year, or whenever. So the Gunsmith has been in the game since the beginning, and his role has kind of changed a bit throughout Destiny 1.0 to Taken King to Rise of Iron. Now, back in the day, of course, Banshee was simply here to sell you white and green weapons, as well as the occasional heavy weapon synth and special weapon synth, because we actually used to use those as well as primary weapon synths back in Year 1. Ammo economy was weird. But of course, he's changed since then to add a couple of new services for Guardians to take advantage of. First and foremost, of course, the Arms Day services, which is, of course, a neat little system where every week he sells a couple of packages. You can buy those packages, you wait and hold on to them for about a week, and next week on Arms Day, he brings in some random rolls for legendary weapons. It's a pretty simple system, but it is the Gunsmith's premier service right now, and that's okay, it's fine, it was a great change. That, plus being able to re-roll, plus him eventually selling weapon and armor parts were all great changes to the Gunsmith system. But I think it's about time we had another change-up. After all, Arms Day has become a little bit irrelevant. There are still people out there who look for the best rolls, those legendary god rolls that Banshee decides to sell once every blue moon. But for the most part, you can get better guns in different game modes, whether it be the raid, whether it be PvP. Shoot, you can go get one of the best hand cannons in the game right now from the Crucible Vanguard. The palindrome that's on sale is generally better than any hand cannon Banshee has ever brought on Arms Day. And ultimately, that's kind of sad, because it puts the Gunsmith in this really kind of unnecessary position, where outside of specific quests to unlock exotics, he's just not really used as much. And that's what I want to talk about today, some changes that I would like to see come to the Gunsmith. And first and foremost, we're going to dive right on into this thing. He is a gunsmith. We've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, and if you've been following my streams on Planet Destiny's Twitch page, you know I talk about this all the time. Banshee 44 is a gunsmith. He makes weapons by trade, and I think it's about time we got that sort of system right here in the world of Destiny. That's right, I'm talking about building weapons, making your own guns. Now, before you go too crazy on me in the comments there are limitations to this. Here's my idea. We have different foundries, we have these different weapons that Banshee brings every single week on Arms Day. And really, that's plenty to work with right there. We can leave the Arms Day system intact so that every week you can buy a set series of packages, and then the next week you can see what rolls will come. But I would love it if you were able to build the same weapons that come in those Arms Day packages. Just imagine, what if once per week you could build one gun from one foundry that Banshee had available for that week. You could completely customize it, picking the weapon you want to craft, setting the perks, and then just building the gun. That would be fantastic. But how would it work? How would you set that sort of thing up? Well, I think they've already actually got a perfect system in place for it. And that system is via the test weapons. Every week we have these guns that you can pick up from Banshee, you take them out into PvE or PvP, and you test them in the world. You test them in the live environment. It's a very simple system in which you just pick up guns, you complete the challenges they lay out for you, and that's it. You get rep with the Gunsmith. And I think it's a pretty underutilized feature right now. Personally, I would love to see this tie in with a weekly quest from Banshee that's sort of like the weekly one you get from Tyra Karn, where she sends you out into the Plague Lands to complete challenges, patrol missions, and kill enemies, and then ultimately you come back, get that token from her, and you use that to trade in for an artifact. That sort of system could work great with Banshee. You head over to him every single week at reset, or on Arms Day rather, and he provides you with a repeatable quest every week that asks you to head out into the wild, utilize his test weapons, complete their challenges, and once you do, you can come back to him and you can craft one weapon that's available from the foundry that he's working with that week. So let me give you an example. Let's say that this week when Arms Day comes around and he's got his brand new packages there, Banshee will have a Suros Foundry focus, and he'll allow you to craft one of 3 guns from the Suros Foundry. And we'll say the available guns this week are the Suros DIS-43, the DIS-47, and the PDX-45. And as soon as you talk to Banshee, he provides you with a quest asking you to take all 5 of his test weapons out and complete the challenges therein, whether they're PvP or PvE. Completing the testing of those weapons will grant you an intel token that you can bring back to Banshee so that he can utilize it to craft you a new gun, one of the 3 that we just mentioned. And that would be it. You'd be able to pick which of the 3 weapons you want to make and then select all of the perks that are going to be available on it. So if you want that God roll DIS-47, you can build it. This would give players an incentive to come to Banshee every single week and complete the test weapons that a lot of people are currently ignoring. And by offering only a few weapons from a single foundry every single week, you can kind of elongate things so people don't get everything they want immediately. Plus, you can run this alongside the current Arms Day system so people can still get their weekly packages from Banshee. In my opinion, this would pretty much revitalize the Gunsmith as is, and it would be a pretty good way to keep people going back to him without adding new weapons to the mix, which Bungie could definitely still do. I would really appreciate some new stuff to review on Arms Day. And definitely some new, not garbage hand cannons. The poor Kumakatake HC4 and Down and Doubt, they are just, not good. But anyways, that's my big idea for a change to the Gunsmith that I would really like to see. It would help him more accurately reflect his title as a gunsmith, as well as affording players a more controlled opportunity to get what they want. Which isn't a bad thing. If you'll remember, back in Year 1, we actually had the ability to re-roll perks on legendary weapons. And I'd also like to see that return in some capacity as well, with the addition, of course, of being able to re-roll perks on armor sets. I mean, how many times have you gotten the exact pair of legendary gauntlets that you want, but it has sidearm reloader on it? So yeah, being able to re-roll armor perks would be great. Although, of course, the biggest complaint about armor re-rolling back in Year 1 was, of course, that everyone would be able to get the God roll. Or more accurately, that everyone would be trying to roll the exact same perks on weapons. Well, the problem with that complaint is, people already do that and they're going to continue doing that whether they have a re-rolling feature or not. So, that being the case, how would I balance re-rolling? Well, simple. Do it the way the Division does. In the Division, you can re-roll the perks on just about any weapon or armor piece in the game. And to do so, you utilize currency, both normal currency and the in-game currency. For Destiny, the equivalent would be Legendary Marks, Motes of Light, and Glimmer, similar to Year 1. But here's the catch. Every time you re-roll a piece of armor or a weapon, the price to re-roll it the next time increases. This would make it so that re-rolling weapons would be viable, but not something you could do indefinitely until you got the roll you wanted. Although with Destiny's RNG, you might not even really need that step of increasing the currency cost, as a lot of players' luck might just dictate that they always get casket mag rather than rifled barrel on their hand cannons. But hey, I guess that wouldn't be too much of a problem, because eventually you'd be able to build your own hand cannon with rifled barrel by completing a weekly quest at the Gunsmith. Or, something like that. But alright Guardians, those are my basic ideas for how the Gunsmith could be revamped. I truly do believe Banshee is an absolutely underutilized resource, and that he could have a much bigger part in players' weekly lives here in the world of Destiny, aside from being the guy who delivers you terrible Jingu Koko D rolls. But of course, I don't have all the answers to the game. My ideas are nowhere near perfect. But I wanted to share them here and get you Guardians' opinions on the same subject. Do you think the Gunsmith could be better? What would you do to change his weekly system? Be sure to let us know down in the comment section below. But alright, it's going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful week. And as always, I am TheBlackLink. You Guardians, stay frosty.